All right, we are back after a 3-month hiatus. Not a whole lot to talk about. There wasn't any arrests that were really major, not drama this year, so it actually worked out a-okay. But let's just go over what we've been hearing about camp. I think the most telling thing, Kirby said it during the SEC Media Days, what was that, July, so middle of July. He was going to have he has had a lot of fun coaching this team, which is telling. I've never heard him ever say that. It was the first time he's ever said that. So I think I kind of took that and as an interesting note that he's having fun.
Was I don't know if the statistic is exactly right, but it's something like 54% of the roster are the starters or anticipated starters are going to be in their first year. So Kirby has mentioned that it's an extremely young team and fire, energy, passion. So maybe what they lack in terms of experience and maturity, if you will, they make up for because they got it. I mean, obviously, if you come to the University of Georgia, you got to be athletic, and Kirby has to like you and think that you will fit in. So maybe it's just the energy and the focus of having a lot of new starters that are going to be coming in this year. So maybe that's it, but we'll see. We'll find out soon enough.
Yeah. To me, yeah, like you said, youth. I mean, well, it's not really youth though. That number is really inflated. When
first year starters or anticipated starters, right?
Well, he also counts people that are transferred in.
Yeah, no doubt. I think
he picked in on that.
I think that's fair, though, right? Don't you? For first year of learning the system, the culture, the offense. In that case, with Branch, I mean, I think that's fair for him to first year players, anticipated starters.
1.5. I would count that as a half.
Well, if you play on the West Coast, I don't count that. So,
all right, fair enough. But a lot of youth. Probably the more interesting thing that's going on in camp to me, quarterback battle's basically been settled, right? I think we all know.
Whenever he put Gunner in media days, I would say that's pretty much an indication.
Yeah. To me, though, the most interesting battle is going to be the offensive line and who are the 5 that get shaked out. We know, I think it's going to be Monroe Freeling. It's going to be Bobo. It's going to be Green, Ernest Green. Your guards, though, I have no idea. I thought Daniel Calhoun would be a starter. Right now, he's going with the 2s.
And it's another kid, Uini, I don't know if I'm saying this right.
Uni? Yeah. So, I'm more interested in that. I know a lot of people are going to be focused on the running back rotation, wide receiver rotation, what that's all going to look like. To me, and really the whole season rides on what the offensive line looks like. I mean, we saw last year it was no good. I mean, you had 3
underachieving. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't good. So, I don't know. And Kirby in SEC Media Days, he said that they have improved on the run game, that they have to, and that they have done something to improve it, and that it's going to be better this year. And that's pretty bold for him. He doesn't really say those type of things. So, and they asked him what was it specifically. He said, well, I can't tell you the secret sauce. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. Probably we're not going to see it Marshall or not, but we'll see it against Tennessee. If Georgia can run the ball better than last year, which isn't that hard, they were 12th in the SEC. This team the offense could be good. The offense could be, top 5 in the SEC at least.
You want me to tell you what I think it is with what Kirby's alluding to? And not just quarterback that can run it and can be a threat is probably brings a different element. Now, whether or not Bobo will use him that way or use him sporadically at strategic points to be an additional runner. I think it also will tell you how much or how little we use Gunnar Stockton by how it will end up being an indication of how much confidence we have in Puglisi. Because the reason why you wouldn't run him, right? Because that's what he's known for, dual threat, being tough, all that kind of stuff. The reason you wouldn't do that is putting him in harm's way when you don't have confidence in a backup quarterback. So that to me is probably the reason. Surely to God, the secret sauce, is not Stacey Searles, because we've had that sauce for the last ever since Pittman, and it's starting to taste rancid to me. But that's my one man's opinion. We have definitely gone back in offensive play, and I think it's a direct reflection of how far we have gotten postseason. Is on to your point about how important the offensive line is. Last 2 years, we've taken a step back, and because of that, we've been out of the playoffs a hell of a lot sooner than we wanted to be. So, to me, you're exactly right. As it goes, the offensive line will go this team, along with the defensive line. I think those are the two critical elements. I'm more concerned about the defensive line than I am about the offensive line. I'm concerned about the offensive line, but the defensive line, we've got a lot. I mean, talk about turnover. There's a lot of turnover there, right? I don't even have any idea who the starting defensive line is going to be.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be by committee. I think you're going to see a lot of Isaiah Gibson. You're going to see a lot of Xavier McLeod, who came on late last year toward the end of the season. I think you're going to see a lot of young guys play on the defensive front. The Joseph Anji, I forget. He's got two last names, 99. I just know that. He's a freak. He's a 5-star coming out of high school. So, to me, I'm not worried about defensive line because that has been such a consistent spot. Trey Scott has been really good at coaching the defensive line.
I agree with that.
I mean, 23.
I have a lot more confidence in Trey Scott than I do Stacey Searles, by the way.
Yeah. 23, if you would have asked me what was going to be the weaker parts of the defense, I would have said defensive line. I thought they held up pretty well in 2023. 24, they did just as fine. To me, it's linebackers who can scrape. CJ Allen, he had a really good freshman year, down sophomore year. I think we'd probably agree on that, right?
I think he's only preseason All-American on defense, right? CJ Allen, I think. There
might be KJ Bolden might be on there.
Boy, that's premature, but okay.
I'm
not disagreeing that he is or isn't. I'm just saying he hasn't done enough yet to prove that he's an All-American to me.
Yeah, I thought he had a good freshman year. Defense, I think this year's defense is going to be pretty good. I don't have anything that would say they're not.
What did you read or hear somebody say that this could be as good a defense as Georgia's had since 21?
Yeah.
That's quite the statement. Who said that, by the way?
There's multiple people. Chris Mahler, he wrote about it. Bunch of people. God, who was it? They're escaping my mind right now. But there's been media. I heard Dean Legge, shout out Dean, shout out Red Zone, that have said that. So, it wouldn't shock me. I mean, look at the defensive back depth that they have. They have a ton of depth there. Linebackers, they have a ton of depth there. Really, the only concern that I would have is the edge rushers. And that, to me, has been the difference from 21-22 defense to 23-24. The edge rushers have not been as good.
I disagree with you on that. I think the edge rushers have been just as dynamic. I mean, Jalen Walker, Ojazari, whatever. I'm not saying his name.
Zeke was 2018.
Well, who was the other dude last year? Mikael Williams. Sorry. I think all those were. I think those guys were really good. But the biggest thing to me is if you don't have dynamic defensive tackles and nose guards that can free those guys up, and so you're having last couple of years you were as a defensive coordinator and staff, you were having to get really creative on how to get a pass rush because of that, right? So that's my opinion. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I agree with you on the pass rushing, but to me, the biggest difference between the 21-22 defenses and then the past 2 years defenses is the outside contain. Teams could run on the outside. Those are edge.
Totally agree. Well, that part I agree.
That wasn't Jalen Walker. That wasn't Michael Williams. That was, Chaz Chambliss, Damian Wilson, who's no longer there. These guys could not contain the outside run, and Georgia needs that to be good because if you can contain the outside run, your linebackers free up, get negative yardage, and that falls on defensive line.
That's what I was about to say. You got to be able to eat blocks and have guys being double teamed, so your outside guys and your linebackers are free to scrape and roam. And when you don't have defensive linemen that take two offensive linemen to block, that could be part of the problem.
Right. And so that's to me the biggest issue right now. So does that get better this year? I don't know. I'd like to see it get better. Defensively, though, every other position I feel pretty confident at.
I know there's been a lot of high praise, and it's coming from more of the national guys than locally, but maybe I haven't been paying attention. But that guy that transferred, Mendoza or whatever his name is, that transferred from Army, he's supposed to be a dude. So we'll see if that turns out. He looks small to me, but what do I know? I'm talking about thin, not
maybe. But I thought Cecil Jolari was kind of thin, and look at what he did. So. What do we know? All right. But I think those are things to keep an eye on. Injuries, of course. Kirby said this is the healthiest they've ever been going into a camp ever. It's been 10 years under Kirby. So hopefully that continues to last. I would be interested what's going to be the running back rotation, and can Nate Frazier be that guy? Can he be that home run hitter? I think he can be. But I don't know. The jury's still out on that. And that has, again, all goes back to the offensive line. Can they hold their blocks to get him a home run? I don't know.
I think based on what I saw last year, I feel relatively comfortable that he can be. And from what I'm also reading and hearing with Roderick Robinson coming back healthy, that could be a big difference maker too, because to me, you got to have a guy that can get the 2 to 3 yards and just, physically in the fourth quarter, just wear guys down. And I'm going to tell you, I saw that guy up close. I guess it was one of the spring games. He's a big dude, like 240 for a running back. I mean, that gets linebackers get tired of hitting that play after play. So if he's healthy, that could add a dimension to the running game. And we also have that short yardage guy. I think he's more of a short yardage guy from Illinois that transferred in. I don't know how much playing time he's going to get. Maybe he's going to be a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. But Georgia's under Kirby so far. The best duos have been kind of like a Thunder and Lightning.
Yep.
Duo, Frazier and Robinson. Being that, it would be great. I think the offense runs better whenever you have that, but they really haven't had it. Not even in 2022. I mean, you just had a guy. You had McIntosh, who was good also in the passing game.
McIntosh, to me, was probably one of the more underrated backs, and I wouldn't even call him a running back because of what you said. You could use him in a lot of different scenarios. He was a Swiss Army knife for a back. Right. I thought a lot of him. And you're right. Georgia's missed that kind of, playmaker or difference maker at running back last couple of years. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking off on a tangent,
Yeah.
of that type of back. Are you? I mean, James Cook was a damn good dog, and obviously helped us win national championship. But he's having a better pro career, and I don't know if that's just because of his game or if it's because he's with the Buffalo Bills. But he's had a pretty successful, a lot more. I thought like Sony Michel would translate into the NFL, and he did. But are you kind of surprised by it? Because I always thought he was such a small guy.
I always thought he would have a better pro career than he did a college career because his game translates better to that style. So I'm not that shocked by it. I think he's underutilized in Buffalo. I think they should use him more.
Well, he's not a guy that you're going to line up and run three straight running plays. And you got to spread with that off the Josh Allen. You got to spread the offense. I don't know. I don't watch them closely enough, but he's also a smaller guy. And so I guess they try to, use him in the right place. Otherwise you could get that guy busted up.
Yeah, I guess, but I think he should be used more often. So another thing that we should probably talk about, a lot of people, the hype is around Texas right now. LSU is another one. Really, those have been the two that are consistently getting pushed. People think Auburn's going to have a better year. Florida have a better year. Georgia's kind of been flying under the radar, which is good, I think. I think Georgia should have a better year than last year. But, I mean, going 10-2 and this with the schedule that they had was pretty impressive, and winning the SEC championship. With a young team, Kirby talks about them being hungry. If you look at Georgia's schedule, it sets up pretty well and nicely for them. The first road game isn't until Tennessee, which is the third game of the season. The biggest games are at home. You have Alabama, you have Texas, Ole Miss. Those are all at home. Last year, those were away games. Tech is a neutral site. It's not really a neutral site. It's in Atlanta. That'll be all Georgia people again. So the only road game that scares me is the Auburn game, which is at night in Jordan Hare. Sounds like some voodoo magic, but
look, if you've got a young team, which obviously we do, Georgia does, some home cooking and a easier start is always good to get guys acclimated to the big stage. So I think it bodes. You're right. It bodes well, and the fact that this is probably one of the best home schedules Georgia fans have had to look forward to in what it seems like a decade. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at the schedules, but
it'd probably be 2015 where Alabama came into town.
Yeah. So we got almost everybody that we want at home. If we can't beat Alabama in our own backyard, God help us, with a whole new quarterback and all the changes that have gone on over there. So, but yeah, to go back to your point, I think it starts off nicely. It should be a treat for the Georgia fans. Like the idea of Ole Miss coming back after they scorched our asses in Boomerville over there, whatever the hell it is. Oxford, yeah. So like that, I like having Bama at home, and if Texas is supposed to be all that, I'd like to see what they can do on the road in Sanford Stadium. And clearly, probably going to be a night game. Most of these big home games are going to be night games, so should be a lot of fun. I know we're not getting into predictions for the season and stuff like that, but clearly the schedule this year is much easier than it was last year. And I don't want to rehash ground, but I don't think we got, obviously the seating was all screwed up. I don't think we got the value for having that tough of a schedule as we did last year.
No.
But that's neither here nor there. But I don't think a difficult schedule, people, nationally, I heard people say, well, Georgia's schedule is so easy. Well, let me tell you, if Georgia doesn't make the playoffs this year, it will not be because of their schedule. Georgia's schedule, we're still playing a Southeastern Conference schedule, A. B, our out-of-conference games Georgia Tech's going to be no cakewalk. Obviously, it took us to 8
People are
overtimes.
picking to win the ACC.
Secretly, I did not know that, but yesterday it was on. I guess I'm gonna give a plug for 680 The Fan, but I was listening to Chuck and Chernoff, the college football king or whatever, and he made a pretty good comment. I mean, if you look at it on paper, Clemson, and I know this is not an ACC channel, but Clemson and Miami, as far as roster talent level, those are the two best teams. But I'm not a huge believer in Miami. They're going to have to prove it to me. And then Clemson, I don't think they're that great. I think Georgia Tech, what I'm saying is, it wouldn't be surprising to me to see Georgia Tech win the ACC this year. So all that is tangential to the schedule for Georgia, but fans have a lot to look forward to with a lot of big games. I know ticket prices are going to be extremely high, but you're getting good games, and there'll be night games. And if you're starting off with a relatively young team and a quarterback that hasn't had that much experience, it's nice to kind of get acclimated to the season before it really matters, so to speak.
Yeah, and Marshall and Austin P, pretty easy. Tennessee, we have no idea what to expect from them with the quarterback situation.
Did they just change quarterbacks with UCLA? Is that what happened? In other words, isn't that where Nico went to UCLA and UCLA's quarterback went to Tennessee?
Yeah.
What a bizarre world we're living in college football. But they just did a trade.
Basically,
yeah.
Yeah. So, and Harrison Bailey is also talked, or no, that's Florida. DJ Lagway, there's all of this hype around him. I mean, I'm going to sneeze. Thank you. Edit that out. Not really. We sneeze. But, he's hurt and going into camp. I have no idea. So, and honestly, here's the other thing that no one's talking about. Ohio State is breaking in. I'm just talking about national. Ohio State bringing in a new quarterback. Alabama bringing in a new quarterback. Michigan, complete unknown. Penn State, they're probably going to be – Texas and Penn State will be the preseason favorites to win the national championship. I don't have any confidence in Penn State. Do you?
I don't have any confidence in James Franklin.
Okay, well, that's Penn State. So, no. And then Texas, Arch Manning, I don't know. He's supposed to be good. I have no idea. They lost a lot on defense, and that defense wasn't that great to me last year. So this season, with all the hype around it, I can very easily see Georgia, being one of the top teams all year. I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility that Georgia isn't one of the top teams with the talent. And by the way, I heard this morning, scrolling through Twitter. This is the best blue chip ratio Kirby has ever had.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
In the country. So the roster's loaded on paper. I know there's some inexperienced, but everyone else is inexperienced. Schedule sets up well for them. Maybe this is drinking the Kool-Aid preseason and getting excited and wanting football season to be here. We're 27 days away from Georgia kicking off. They would probably, as right now, as we're recording, the game would still be going on. I'm excited, but I think the expectation for Georgia to be in the playoff once again, be in the hunt for the national title, and possibly winning the SEC is not a unfair expectation.
I don't think it's unfair. They're favored just like I think they were last year going into the season. They're favored in every single one of their games,
right?
From a betting standpoint. So. But I've also seen people say they're going to have 2 losses. So I don't know how you can have be favored in every game by the national pundits, but also be told that you're going to lose 2 games. So that's a great thing about playing the season. We'll see what we got. I don't know from an expectation. I expect Georgia to be good because why wouldn't you expect that with Kirby and the staff?
Right.
And then, like you said, with all the blue chip players, but I have no idea how this offense is going to gel. When Gunner is the guy, how's that going to play out? Is the offensive line going to be able to move people and get, even when they know that we're going to run the ball, which has been Georgia's problem in the last couple of years,
Yeah.
amongst other things. But when they know that we're going to run the ball, can we still run it and be effective? And if we can do those things and Gunner can settle into this role, right? I do think this. I don't know anything about what happens in the locker room. If you're not on the team or on the staff or around it, you don't know. So we're all speculating. But it seems to me like the guys, meaning the teammates, really want Gunner Stockton to do well, and they pull for him a lot harder, and I won't mention any names, than some of the previous quarterbacks. So we'll see if all that makes any difference, and then hopefully the receivers can catch the fucking ball this year. That would be great.
You can't drop 70% of the passes. I think there's one way to go. That's all. So, I totally agree with everything you just said there. So we'll see. We'll do probably a Mike Francesa special breakdown every game, probably in the next coming weeks. Obviously, we took a hiatus, so we'll be back more. Also, on ancillary notes, do you want to move on, or do you have something to add?
No, I'm ready to move on.
Oh, all right. On ancillary notes, I saw something that was pretty interesting. Auburn, I got to give. This will be one of the very few times I have to give Auburn kudos. They've done two things that I thought were pretty interesting. One, they had a surplus sell. So they went from Under Armour to Nike. And so they had all their equipment, jerseys, every baseball, basketball, volleyball, every jersey uniform that they had, they gave away. Every short, polo, hat, visor, they all gave it away. Everything was under $35. And their
They
fans
give it away. They sold it at a discount.
Sold it at a discount.
Okay.
But cool idea, raise money for the program. You're getting a jersey for $35. That's a heck of a deal. So that was pretty cool. And then another thing that they're doing, they have a streaming service called War Eagle Plus. Pretty cool concept. You give like so much money a month and you get behind the scenes stuff, and then you get concession stand prices off and everything. That's smart for Auburn with a team, doesn't have a huge base to give, money, NIL, and this. Pretty smart. I wouldn't be surprised if Georgia starts moving.
Hey, I'm all for it, man. Texas, they sell University of Texas, they sell Longhorn vodka. And that alone makes them a shit ton of money. So in the era that we're in and NIL and the Wild Wild West, whatever Georgia can do, and kudos, like you said, kudos to Auburn. You got to get creative on some of this stuff to generate revenue, to get the players that you want, because we all know it's constant free agency out there, which we're not going to beat a dead horse. That's crazy.
Yeah. So shout out Auburn. That's the one and only time you'll ever get a shout out here. So, all right. Remember to like and subscribe to Terminus Sports, and then our social media _ATL. Even during the hiatus, I was posting stuff. So make sure to follow us for updates when we're going to record. And then hit the like button, send it to a friend, tell somebody about it. I don't know. Do something. We need all the help we can get. So we appreciate it. We'll be back probably next week with another video talking about any updates that happen. Hopefully nothing bad. So, yeah. All right. See you on the other side.
See ya.